right, everyone, buckle up because we're diving headfirst into the world of Linux. But not just any old Linux tutorial, no. We're going deep, deep undercover to see how hackers use it to, well, hack stuff.
And you know what they say, right? To beat them, you got to think like them. So we're cracking open this book, Linux Basics for Hackers, to see how these guys exploit systems from the inside out.
Sounds kind of risky, don't you think? I mean, are we really going to learn how to be hackers by the end of this?
Relax, we're not turning anyone into a cybercriminal today. It's more about understanding the tools and tactics they use so we can better protect ourselves. Think of it like learning how a lock works. You're not going to go around picking locks, are you?
Well, not unless it's like a really cool antique lock. But okay, I get your point. Knowledge is power, even in the digital world. So where do these hackers even begin?
Processes. They're the beating heart of any computer system. Little engines running every single task, your web browser, your music player, even that presentation you're working on. Each one's a process.
Okay, so my computer's juggling like 100 things at once. No wonder it throws a fit when I try to open one more tab.
Exactly. Now imagine a hacker slipping into the system. They want to know what processes are running, what they're doing, how much power they're using, get the lay of the land.
So it's like they're casing the giant, but instead of a building, it's my computer. Spooky.
Kinda. And their first tool of choice, the EPS command. This little beauty gives them a master list of every single process running on a system.
Oh, I think I've seen this in movies. It's that wall of text that scrolls down the screen super fast. What do they even do with all that information?
Well, it might look like gibberish to the untrained eye, but to a hacker, it's a goldmine. Each line represents a different process, and within those lines, they're looking for specific markers, identifiers.
Like what? Give me an example.
Well, there's the process ID, or PID. It's like a unique fingerprint for each process. Once they've got that, they can really start digging.
Okay, so they're not just aimlessly browsing, they're looking for specific targets. And how do they do that?
That's where grep comes in. Think of it like a filter, or even better, a metal detector on a beach. They can use grep to sift through that sea of data and zero in on exactly what they're after.
So, like, if they want to mess with my antivirus software, they can use grep to find it.
You got it. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. See, hackers don't want to announce their arrival, right? They want to be stealthy, blend in.
Right, like ninjas. They're more effective in the shadows.
Exactly. So they might use grep to find things like security programs, analyze them, figure how they work, all very quietly, but before they make any drastic move.
Please tell me they don't just disable my antivirus right then and there.
Well, not usually right away.
Yeah.
First, they want to understand how the system behaves normally. That's where top comes into play.
Top as in top 10. Are we ranking my apps now?
Kind of. Top shows which processes are using the most resources at any given time. CPU power, memory, that kind of stuff. It's like taking the system's pulse.
So a sneaky hacker would want their own malicious processes to blend in with all the normal stuff, right? Wouldn't want anything to stick out.
Exactly. Low profile is the name of the game in the early stages.
Man, this is already making my head spin a little. They're in the system, they're identifying targets, analyzing behavior. What's next in their bag of tricks?
Once they've got their targets lined up, it's time to get their hands dirty. And that's where things get really interesting. So we've talked about hackers using tools like Mestos, grep, even top to scope out a system.
Right, like getting a feel for the place before they make their move.
Exactly. But they're not just there to observe, are they? They want to make things happen, bend this system to their will.
Okay, that sounds a little ominous.
Well, it can be. Let's talk about a little something called the nice command.
Nice. That doesn't sound very hackery to me.
No, I know, right?
Yeah.
It sounds pretty innocent.
Uh-huh.
But in the wrong hands, nice can be used for some pretty sneaky stuff.
Yeah.
Imagine this, a security camera recording footage to a server.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
A hacker could use nice to lower the priority of that recording process, make it sluggish, give them a window to slip by unnoticed.
So instead of like smashing the camera, they just make it a little slow on the uptake.
Exactly. It's all about creating those little advantages, those subtle disruptions. And if they need to change a process's priority on the fly, there's release.
So they can like crank it up or slow it down whenever they need to.
Got it.
Yeah.
Nice and release. All about playing with the system's pecking order, giving their own malicious processes a little boost, maybe even starving out important system processes.
So what happens when a hacker wants to, skip the subtleties and just go for the kill shot?
Well, that's when the kill command comes into play. Pretty self-explanatory, right?
I'm guessing it's not as simple as hitting Ctrl-Alt-Delete.
Laughing. Not quite. Kill lets a hacker terminate a process entirely, like taking it out of the game completely.
Brutal. So if they found that antivirus software we were talking about earlier,
They could use Kill to shut it down before it even knows what hit it. Then they're free to deploy their own malware, steal data, whatever their evil plan might be.
okay, this is starting to sound like a digital horror movie.
Maybe a little bit, but hey, that's why we're here, right? To shed some light on these tactics, demystify them. Because once you understand how they work, you're better equipped to defend against them.
You're right, knowledge is power. And frankly, I'm ready for a little more knowledge. What other tricks did these hackers have up their sleeves?
Well, sometimes the best approach is to operate in the shadows, running processes in the background where nobody can see them.
Hidden processes. Sounds sneaky.
You have no idea. And creating one is easier than you'd think. All it takes is adding a little "and" symbol to the end of a command. Poof, it vanishes from the main screen.
But it's still running, like a ghost in the machine.
Perfect analogy. The process is still there, doing its thing, but it's hidden from view. It's like having a secret agent operating under a false identity.
So what happens if the hacker needs to, like, call their agent back in? Can they bring those background processes back to the foreground?
You're one step ahead of me. That's where the FG command comes in. It's like saying, okay, time to come out of hiding.
Man, these hackers really have an answer for everything, don't they?
That's what makes them so dangerous. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's take a quick break. We'll be back in a moment to explore even more advanced techniques from the hacker playbook. Don't touch that dial.
All right, so before the break, we were talking about background processes. These, like, phantom programs that hackers can use to operate in secret.
Right, but we only scratched the surface of what those hidden processes can do.
Oh, there's more. Okay, now I'm really intrigued. What else can they get up to while they're lurking in the shadows?
Imagine this. Instead of just running a single command in the background, a hacker creates a whole series of commands, chained together, all automated. We're talking scripts.
Scripts, like movie scripts. Are they writing a screenplay for my computer?
Not exactly. Think of it like programming a series of actions for the computer to perform, one after another. It's like setting a chain reaction in motion, but instead of dominoes, it's code.
Okay, so instead of just sneaking in the back door, now they're building their own secret passageways through my system.
In a way, yeah. And these scripts can be incredibly powerful. They can be programmed to scan for vulnerabilities, exploit them, even cover their tracks, all without the user ever suspecting a thing.
This is getting a little too close to home for my liking. Can you give me an example? What would a real-world hacker actually do with one of these scripts?
Let's say a hacker wants to target a company's financial database. They can write a script that lies dormant for weeks, silently monitoring network traffic.
So it's just like watching and waiting for the right moment to strike?
Exactly. And when the conditions are right, maybe during a busy financial quarter when everyone's distracted, it springs into action. It could siphon off sensitive data, alter financial records, even manipulate stock prices.
And all of this is happening behind the scenes, totally invisible to the user.
Completely. By the time anyone realizes what's happened, the hacker's long gone, and the damage is done.
Okay, I think I need a moment to let all that sink in. This is some seriously advanced stuff.
It is.
Oh,
But that's why we're here, right?
Sure.
The more we understand about these tactics, the better equipped we are to protect ourselves.
you're absolutely right. So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We talked about how hackers use basic commands to spy on processes, manipulate their priority, even kill them off entirely. And then we took it a step further with these background processes and scripts, which are like something straight out of a spy movie.
It's a lot to take in, I know. But the key takeaway here is awareness. Cybersecurity isn't just about having the latest antivirus software. It's about understanding the mindset of a hacker, knowing their tactics, and staying one step ahead.
Well said. Knowledge is power, and I have a feeling our listeners are walking away from this episode with a whole lot of it.
And a healthy dose of paranoia about their own devices, hopefully.
Laughing. Maybe just a little. But seriously, thanks for joining me on this deep dive. Until next time, stay safe out there, everyone.